Hey y'all, I'm Karyn.
And I'm Mingo.
And this is the Mingo and Karyn Show. And we decided to, so first of all, welcome. But we decided to start this YouTube channel because we started a podcast talking about, you know, all things relationship and life and lifestyle and things like that. So we decided to start this channel so we could like engage with the people so y'all could see us instead of just hearing our voices. And we just, you know, we've been married for 27 years. Yep. We have 4 adult children and a granddaughter, but we just wanted to share how we got here. So many people ask us how we got here. Yep. And so we came here to share the things with you, the mistakes we made, the victories we've had and everything.
Yeah, we're a very transparent couple. And, you know, we decided to get a little bit more in the weeds on the topic. So today we're going to talk about how we stopped arguing. Juicy.
Let me tell you something, baby. Them arguments.
And it's funny when people, when they see us together and they see us interact, they think we never argue.
It's so weird.
And that's totally not the case. You know, she's a Scorpio, I'm a Scorpio. That has nothing to do with it, but she's a Scorpio and I'm a Scorpio. And, you know, we both believe in what we believe in.
Very strong.
But it took a lot of time to learn how, you know, how to stop arguing. And when I say arguing, that doesn't mean just a blow up that is the world, but it might just be little petty things back and forth. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that's really what we wanted to talk about.
And so, and I think, you know, because we met when we were 19, we got married when we were 21. So kind of a part of that was growing up, just having to grow up, period. But also having to share your life with someone else, like living together, you know, I was a baby mama for 5 months. Mm-mm. So we didn't get married until our son was 5 months old. So being a newlywed couple and being parents and still trying to be 21 and navigate through, you know, being in our 20s, we would just, our arguments, oh my God. Y'all, in retrospect, it was a waste of time.
You want McDonald's, I want Burger King.
Right, and it's like, what are we arguing about? So anyway, we just wanted to, we've gotten to a place now where we have matured. Yeah. We have learned some lessons on how to communicate better with one another so that we don't get into arguments. And we just wanted to share with you all how we really stopped arguing. So the way our method, I'll say, let me speak for me. I ain't gonna speak for Our.
Okay.
But my method of arguing was I just had to always say something, right? Like didn't have enough self-control sometimes to just shut up. Jesus, Karyn, just be quiet. Like, you don't have to say that. And I was like, whatever I felt I wanted to say, I was going to say it anyway. I mean, whether it was productive, I didn't care. I just felt like I needed to say my, you know, say my piece and get out what I wanted to get out. And so my method of my part that I took in the argument was always feeling like I needed to say something to you, regardless of whether it was really helpful or not.
Because it might have started off, it might not be an argument. Like I used the example. I'll give you a quick example. Now, these old examples, I'm going to give you a quick example. So she'll say, hey, babe, what do you want to eat today? I say, this is back in the day. I say, McDonald's. Well, I don't want McDonald's. Okay.
That was me.
How about Burger King? Well, I don't want Burger King. Well, how about KFC? Well, I don't want KFC. Well, why are you asking me why you even asking me?
But see, back then, the deal was I really didn't have a taste for anything, but everything he suggested was like...
But she needed me to figure out what was in her head and her taste buds.
It was so
then that thing would go left. And when I say left, it's like, now we ain't talking about food no more. We done put in a good 30 minutes to an hour on arguing on the fact that she asked me to pick what she wanted to eat, but she turned down everything I'm saying. Then finally just end up, hey, just cook something. I mean, what we gonna do?
And then, I go, okay, fine, and we'll just go with McDonald's, like the first suggestion that you gave.
But before she take her first bite, she gonna say, I really don't want this.
This is true. This is true.
I mean, so I'm sure y'all have been there.
It's kind of
funny when you play it back then, but when you young in your 20s, it's passion behind that thing. You know what I'm saying?
And I mean, and in retrospect, like he said, it was just really simple. Instead of me just really deciding, like Karyn just make a decision, and then you know it just would turn into nothing, and we wasted time. Now we riding in the car mad. Well, I'm mad. I'm like, well,
I'm enjoying my McDonald's.
He's enjoying his McDonald's, so I'm mad that he's enjoying his McDonald's, and so it's like, okay, so you just gonna eat like that, like it's really good?
Like yep, it's good.
Petty.
See, that's that Scorpio thing.
Yeah, okay, whatever. But yeah, so that was kind of my method of arguing, and then that would turn into, it would like be long and drawn out and turn into us doing this bickering thing for like the rest of the day. Like every little thing we talked about was, it annoyed me.
The one answer, the short answers.
Yeah, like, hey, you want to watch such and such on TV? I mean, whatever you want to watch.
You look at what you want to look at.
Yeah, so then it just will spiral out. So I just know for me, having to always say something was how I argue, that I just couldn't shut up sometimes when it was really not necessary for me to say everything.
So one of the key things we want to talk about was how we stop. How did we stop arguing? People.
Well, can you share with us how you argued? I done put my business out there, so because I was the one that couldn't shut up.
I just gave y'all a great example. Y'all see, I didn't argue. That's the way I handled it. I didn't argue. That ain't my thing. That wasn't my thing. But now, once you work this volcano up, it can argue. But it's not like a daily thing. Back in the day, I was more of a petty person. So I'm going to like halfway answer you, be nonchalant about it. Like you want to argue, but I don't want to argue. But I'm just arguing in a different way.
Yeah, and that nonchalant, baby, set it off, okay?
And I knew it set it off. So for me, it was entertainment.
At this point, I'm Queen Latifah. You know what I'm saying? Set it off, because you ain't saying nothing back to me. So like I ain't getting nothing. So really, what was the reason?
I used to always say, I'm not buying tickets to your carnival today. I ain't doing it. I'm not doing it. But, you grow and you learn. And when you get older, you can laugh about it. So a lot of people don't know how to stop arguing. The first most important thing about how to stop arguing is to stop arguing. I think that deserves a moment of silence. Okay. So now, the way you stop arguing is everything is not worthy of an argument. Because basically what an argument is, it's a difference of opinions at a sometimes high elevated voice. And both people talking over each other, so you can't hear the point. Both of y'all really have the same idea. You want a good outcome, but in that moment of passion, it's like you're talking over each other, and the way the ears work, it always hears the wrong word.
This is true.
So when you stop to take that breath, you hear what she said. You like, what you say? Hold up,
because you ain't heard nothing.
Let's stop that. And what were you saying there? So now, when your argument started off about what you gonna eat, oh boy, y'all done went back to when y'all first met. You done went back to, hey, you know what? Now that I'm getting this off my chest, let me go and tell you,
And see, what was crazy with me is I be doing so much talking that when he stopped talking and heard what I said, and then he say, "What you just say?" But I couldn't remember what I just said because I said so much. It's so stupid.
And then she go into, well, never mind then, because you weren't listening to me. Well, you weren't listening to me neither.
And all of it was true. And so, and I think what was, for us, I think the biggest part of why we argued was it was based on not necessarily what the person was saying, like that was important, because sometimes we were just being petty, but when it was important, it would be how we interpreted what the other person said.
Yeah. And when you're talking about interpretation, I'm talking about your response. So like I just gave an example when I said, well, what did you just say? See, that's going to set her off because it's like, oh, he bringing that energy. So I'm going to bring energy back versus me saying, you know what? I'm heated right now, but I really need a little bit more clarity on what you just said because right now, I forgot about what we were arguing about. I just felt like that was a little disrespectful, so we got to go there right now.
Yeah.
But it's all in how you say it.
And also, just self-owning. Sometimes I would say it just to be, be ugly. Like I'm
trying to turn your boy's screws.
Yeah, like I'm hitting below the belt to the feet on the ground. Like I'm giving it all. Like I'm throwing it all. Just throw it all away. And for what? But really to get a point. And a point that was going to resolve what? A point that was really going to, it didn't even benefit us to be doing that. Yep. And I think that the way that sometimes I'm really working on it, but I can be really just straightforward and brash. And I think that when you're trying to reason and get through things, everything doesn't have to be blunt. Now, I don't have to not say what I feel, but I think it's a way to say everything.
Yeah.
Instead of just being ugly about it. And I could intentionally be ugly about it. So, self-owning again. But I think it was, if he said something that I didn't understand, I would tell him what I thought he said. And it would, most of the time, totally be wrong.
And I'd be like, that ain't what I was thinking.
And I'm like, but that's the way it sounded to me. And he's like, so then it got to the point where then I'd be like, well, what did you hear? So then it becomes about that one point versus about getting to a place of resolution.
And the thing about arguing, I don't know anybody who's never not done it before.
Yeah, I mean, it seems impossible.
You're a special person.
Yeah, you somebody.
Because she was created individually, I was created individually, and we come together collectively.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that we're not going to disagree.
Absolutely.
We disagree, just like any other person in the world. She doesn't agree with everything I want to do. I don't agree with everything she wants to do. But we're mature enough now to know you have to find a compromise to make it work.
Yep.
Because, you stand on that side of the street and I'm standing on the other side of the street. At some point, both of us got to cross the street.
And I think the thing that's most important to focus on is what is the end goal of this conversation, right? How you stop arguing is to figure out, what are we trying to accomplish here? What is it that, at the end of the day, what is it that we're trying to do? So let's use the example just for simple, reasons or simple purposes. Eating, right? So if you said McDonald's and Burger King, but then you said Taco Bell and KFC or something. First of all, we got to narrow down what are you in the mood for? Exactly. Yeah. And so then once you figure out, okay, hamburgers. I'm in the mood for burgers and fries. Okay, well, which fries? Because they got different fries. They have different burgers. So I can't, my problem was I would be like, well, I want a Whopper with McDonald's fries.
Like, no.
It's like, man, just make up your mind. And so for me, it was, my frustration would come, and it was really my issue, but my frustration would come in me wanting him to figure something out for me that I needed to really sit and figure it out on my own. And
to piggyback on the food analogy, it's the little simple things. And think about this. Never, ever have this discussion when you're hungry.
Ooh.
It's going to make it worse. It's going to escalate it because you're hungry and you're thinking about how much work, and it's just a lot to go into it. But, we're going to give you some tips. And one of the main tips we learn, when you're arguing, don't leave the house. You cannot leave the house.
And I don't even know, to even think back that when we were younger, that we had the instinct to know not to leave.
Yeah, we just knew. Nobody taught it to us. Because see, what you learn about us, because we call ourselves the common sense couple.
Yeah.
What you learn about us, we're very transparent. And it would defeat the purpose if we didn't tell people how we overcame things, because it's somebody sitting up right now thinking like, man, it has to be a better way to do this. And sometimes people who've been married longer than you, they act like their marriages are perfect and they've never been through anything. Yeah, we've overcome a lot of things that you might just now be facing in a new relationship, but it took us 27 years to get to this point. Yeah. And so we feel like it's our duty and our job to share it, because it's all in vain if we don't share it. But we got to live it first. So we just can't be up here talking about, this is what I did and this is how I overcame. No, we're showing you that this can be done in any relationship.
And most of the things start with not running. And I think when you get into arguments, it's easy to be able to leave that person and say, you know what, let me just walk away from this or run away. Now, certain things, things that you can't resolve, you walk away from. But when there are things that you can actually resolve, don't leave. Maybe you separate and go in different rooms, go in different areas, go do something and collect your thoughts so that you can come back together. But don't ever, 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 ever leave. Don't ever leave. Because think about it this way. When you leave the house or when you're leaving that person hanging, you're literally leaving the person that you love hanging.
Hanging for real. Hanging for real.
And trying to figure out, well, dog, if they were of value to you in your life, why would you walk away from them? You might walk away from the situation to go collect yourself, but getting in the car and going somewhere and throwing a fit or going to hang out with your friends and talk about all that kind of foolishness, don't do that.
Yeah. And what we really learned, because we didn't know this, we had to actively go through this to learn this. In an argument, you got to push for clarity and watch your tone, because your tone can escalate or de-escalate the situation. Yep. So somebody in that moment has to dig deep. And when I'm talking about deep, I'm talking about deep. I'm talking, you got to dig deep, construction worker deep. And you got to be able to say, all right, I really don't want to have this argument, but we're having it. Yeah. So is it going to be petty? Or is this a real problem? You have to think about, have we done this before? Do we do this every time we get ready to eat? Or, what's the point of this argument? Are both of us just getting a kick out of sparring off one another? Because those kind of arguments, the little petty ones, they cause long-term damage.
Gosh.
I mean, because you start thinking about, now when you get older, you just tired. You're like, nah,
I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
I'm good. Look, if you want KFC napkins with a McDonald's drink.
Please.
With a Big Mac.
We're going to find the area where it's all on the same strip.
And move a piece of bread in the middle.
Yes, that's me. I do move
and put it in a Burger King bag. I got you. I got you. I got you. I'm here to make it work.
Because you just learn it's not really that deep.
Yeah.
Like really, what is the problem? What is the issue? And I think even on your tone, like I said, for me, I had a way of being brash and kind of, because I felt like, oh, well, this is how I feel, then you should have to take it. Like, having a bad attitude. Well, I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be that way. And then sometimes with Mingo being quiet, when he's had enough, he has truly had enough of my behind. And so when he says something, it's as brash as it would be as brash as when I said it, but it would hurt my feelings. Like, who does that?
I'm like,
girl?
oh, now you gonna be sensitive. Oh, now sensitivity shows up.
Yeah, like, Karyn, how can you talk crazy to somebody?
Yeah.
Which I used to. And then think he's gonna not defend himself or not say something because I keep going on and on and on. And he's showing me like, listen, I'm gonna let her have that over here. I'm gonna sit right here and I'm gonna do what I gotta do. But no, not me. I'm gonna keep going and keep going. And then I think then once he came back at me, his tone would be like, I've had enough. And I didn't like that. And so then, like he said, my feelings would kind of get hurt. And then I would like go and be mad. And then now I flipped it where it's his fault, but I wouldn't shut up. So sometimes you got to pay attention to what you're doing too. What you about to say?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. You saw I did that. KFC napkins.
Whatever. Anyway.
Ice from crystals. I would do it. I got you.
No. So, but yeah, seriously, I think was the main goal for real, babe, is to focus on the resolution. Yep. What are you trying to get to? What is really the purpose? And is what you're talking about really what you're wanting to talk about?
And you got to agree to disagree. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't understand the art of that. Every conversation, whether it's at a low tone or whether it's at a heightened tone, you have to agree to disagree in the beginning because real talk, a lot of things we talk about are really opinion-based.
Absolutely.
I mean, she may do her research on one thing, I may do my research on another. If your goal is to convince that other person who's done research,
stop now.
You're not agreeing to disagree. Agreeing to disagree don't mean y'all finna divorce.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't mean y'all finna separate. Or don't mean you just don't like this person no more and never want to talk to him again. That's not what that means.
But you're two different people who come from two different backgrounds who are going to have two different opinions. And sometimes you're just not going to agree. Yeah. Do you agree with everybody in the world? Of course you don't. So it's almost like you take it out on this person because they love you and they'll tolerate you when you could just say, you know what? We don't see eye to eye on that. Let me walk away. Go find something more productive to do or to talk about. Because if you are going back and forth about something, then you're not really working towards resolution. You're just talking.
And, thinking about arguing in general, it's taxing.
It is very taxing.
It gets in you mentally. It affects you.
Yes.
Physically, like now, we couldn't argue. I'd be like,
oh,
I'm
God,
finna go to sleep.
Win.
I'm going to bed.
Shoot.
And it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, you just taking all my energy for the rest of the day. So, but I think that people are so scared to have constructive conversations.
I agree.
Because if your goal is, even if you're not an arguer, if your goal is to be right.
Whoop. Now that deserves a moment of silence.
Okay. So,
because think about that. No, for real, meditate on that for a minute. If your goal is to be right, me being the right fighter I used to be, my goal was always to be right.
Put your cape up for the day.
Yeah, that's funny. But I didn't, even if I was right, the fact that I want to prove it to him so that he looks wrong, who does? That's not even behaving in love.
And I hear her. I see her. I love her.
Mm-hmm. But, I love you too, man.
Yeah, but in a moment of a disagreement, my love level doesn't change.
Yeah.
Now my tolerance level might go down to -1.
What you trying to say?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's gonna come back up because the love, the admiration, all of that is
and
there.
Respect.
Yeah, it's definitely respect. Now you know what? That could be a whole nother podcast right there.
We always for every podcast we always.
But y'all see how we talk.
Podcast.
You think about this. If you disrespect somebody in the argument,
boy,
that's worse than what you ever even started arguing about. Because now this person feel like they're not looking at the fact that you're kind of short patience because you can't make a decision about food. Mm-hmm. They're looking at like, oh, you challenging my everything
to the next level. Like, why you got to be disrespectful because you can't figure some stuff out?
So I think in an argument, you got to focus on you and not the other person. You got to if you got a point to get out, get your point out. But if you don't want to keep doing that, because what we've learned, especially being together for so long, man, all that valuable time you wasted arguing could have been put in a more constructive place in your life. You could have gone out together. You could have watched a movie together. Yeah. You just remove all of that tension. And does that mean we will never disagree again? Absolutely not. We will disagree because we're two different people. She's Karyn, I'm Mingo. But we're wise enough now to know, hey, if we're going to disagree, we're going to disagree with a purpose, and it's going to have a method to it.
And it's going to have an end. Yeah. Because let me tell you how immature we used to be. So another one of the things that we live by is that we don't go to sleep mad. Yeah. Now, when I say don't go to sleep mad, that don't mean like the next morning I might wake up kind of quiet and still in my thoughts or in my feelings. But we didn't go to sleep. We didn't go to sleep knocked down, drag out, angry.
I ain't packed some luggage while she was asleep. That was she trying to say.
Listen, I'm jumping right in that suitcase. I don't care what he said. No, I'm just playing.
Come on, go with me. We'll argue in the other spot.
Right. But I think for us, we would stay up. This is how crazy this was, y'all. We would stay up to 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, literally still trying to get resolved because we didn't want to go to sleep.
Trying to agree to disagree.
Right. Instead of just saying, listen, we ain't going to get there. Okay? We're not going to get there. You going to see it your way. I'm going to see it my way. Let's go to sleep.
And that's when we go to sleep.
Yeah, and we go to sleep once we finally get there. But think about it, if we started an argument earlier that evening because while we watching TV or out to dinner or something like that, and now it's going over into the next day. I mean, think about how silly that was. Yeah. Oh my gosh, to go over into the next day when we could have just really kind of just walked away from it and not have been disrespectful and not have been so opinionated and so focused on proving your own point. Like, why? What? Listen, it doesn't help anything.
And everybody has different ways they, argue, disagree. Yeah. And, just to piggyback on that point of not leaving the house. Yeah. A lot of time when your energy is open like that, you may run into the wrong situation, the wrong person, because you're very vulnerable. And you don't know what you will or will not do. This is true. For us, you don't have to have a very large house. You could be in a studio apartment.
Separate corners.
Y'all just go in separate corners. She look at TV, I put my headphones in. You do it how you do it. We're not telling you to do it the way we did it. We're just telling you there are some techniques that can help stop disagreements, because the whole goal is to have less disagreements. Yes,
it is. And to make sure. So I think, it's important that you identify who you are in a situation when you argue. Yeah. What type of person are you? Like me having to just say whatever, Mingo being kind of quiet. Also, then you got to think about how you're saying what you're saying. Are you really saying that in love?
Are you saying that with your chest? That what you're doing?
Well, I mean, and if it's going to, if it was said to you, and would you be hurt? And in a lot of cases, you would be hurt if that other person said to you what they said to you. And then I think the tips that we want to give are, just making sure that you don't leave the house and you don't go to sleep mad. Yeah. Like, figure it out, y'all. Also, ask for clarity with Mingo, what are you saying? Like, if I don't understand, and then him watching his tone or me watching my tone, we say that to each other. And also, lastly, just finding out what is the resolve. Like, what are we trying to get from this? Like, figure the resolution out and make it happen and live a happier life, y'all. This is the worst thing that you could ever do, was just keep arguing and going on and on and on and on and on. It's counterproductive to your overall health of your relationship.
Yeah, because if you really want to be in this relationship with this person, you have to really want to be in this relationship with this person. So that might be a lot of things that you're not comfortable with, but you need to get comfortable. Because the sooner you get comfortable, the less disagreements you have, the less misunderstandings you have. It won't be no more, well, what did you say? Because you already understand what she's saying, because she's saying it out of love, or I'm saying it out of love. And that's where it comes in, and that makes you happier, that makes everybody else around you happier, and it just leads for a better life. And I'm all about that better life. I'm all about relationships building. I love seeing people together. I love seeing people have love. That's my thing.
Yep. And it's easier on this end. We are here to tell you as living witnesses. it is easier to not argue and not to bicker.
Yep.
We have a lot more fun together. Replace arguing with laughter.
Yes,
Find something to laugh about.
Absolutely.
So, we want to see relationships become better and become more whole, and not to have disagreements that just take you out of the relationship.
Yeah, man.
But things that you're able to resolve. And so we really, really appreciate you all. We hope you stop arguing.
Stop arguing.
Stop it. Cut it out.
Stop.
Go to separate corners.
STOP. Stop.
Stop it. So anyway, we appreciate y'all. We just want to tell you happy relationship building.
Happy relationship building.